So
we're not ready to talk about this vintage yet.
Hi, this is Scott Jordan, and we're live here at Cellars of Sonoma. I've got John Bambury here from Bonneau Wines. We're talking about the egret wine, and I did ask a question before the break, and I'm going to ask it again because I think we're going to get two answers here. The question is, if you want a white wine with citrus flavors that are not buttery, which would be the most likely choice? A, Merlot, we know that's not right, that's red wine. Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, or Sangiovese. Sangiovese is not the answer because obviously that is a red grape. Now, the card traditionally is going to tell us Sauvignon Blanc. And when we think about citrus and non-buttery, we typically think of Sauvignon Blanc. Really, though, you can't exclude Chardonnay.
No, not especially when you do it this style. You'll notice that this has a nice, I think this one's more apple. This is actually more pear in character, but both have a crisp, fresh taste to them and a snappy finish. It's very pleasant.
That's very clean. Wow.
Yeah, it's nice wine.
Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. The 09 is showing really well. And really, you know, again, pretty similar, but, you know, this is the little newer fruit. And now, on release points, how far away are we from going from the 08 to the 09?
We're going to release our 09s next month. So this is just a week before we're going to release.
There you go. So you got a little prelim. You got a chance to come by the tasting room. We've got this open, and you can sure taste that and do a little side by side because that's a fun way to do that. But you can see the consistency and the model of the style of the wine. Very, very similar, which is excellent. And great price point. What's the price point on this wine? Somebody want to yell that out?
18.
18 bucks. I was going to say 18 bucks. $18. And you know, really, this is all estate grown, right?
It is all from our estate in Carneros.
I mean, that's impressive. And, you know, each week I challenge those of you watching the broadcast, go to your local Bevmo, go to Costco, go anywhere you want, go to Safeway or the local wine shop in your area. And here's what you have to do if you want to challenge me. Number one, it's got to be within a appellation. In this case, it's within the Los Carneros region. It can't say California. That's not fair because it could be from all over California, and that's not the same fruit at all. And then it needs to be, in this case, estate grown, so it makes it even more controlling because to get the name estate, you've got to own it or control the vineyard from the ground up, right? I mean, that's correct. You know, so that's different than buying the fruit from Uncle Ned down the block, who decided to not thin his crop out and got 6 tons per acre, and that's not going to produce the same fruit of what you're talking about here. So I'm talking about, look on the label. It's got to say from a single appellation, in this case, Los Carneros. You even have to go as far as to say estate wine. I'll even let that slide, to be honest with you. But good luck finding that for 18 bucks. You're just not going to see it. You just don't see that in the marketplace. You're going to have to go to a mass-produced wine in order to get into that price point. I mean, that's a fantastic value. Now, we're not going to show the other egret, but you make another egret that we do really well with here, which is the egret cab. Mm-hmm. And that's another great value. 29 bucks for Sonoma Valley fruit. And I think you threw some rock pile in that one. Didn't you have a little rock pile fruit in that?
So the cab came from Sonoma Valley, and the blenders, which we put a little bit of Malbec and a little bit of Petit Verdot, and those grapes came from rock pile. So it's actually, we had to call it Sonoma County, even though you've rightly determined that the cab grapes came from
Sonoma Valley, because I kind of know where that came from, and that's a beautiful vineyard if I'm correct. But the bottom line is, you can't beat that kind of price point. I'm sorry, you're just not going to see it. You can go anywhere you want, and you're going to get bulk wine at that price. It's just, you know, Those are great values. Now, the next one is your Los Caneros Chardonnay, 2008, 2009. Again, we're doing a little side-by-side comparison. So I'll pour the 2008. And John, tell me a little bit about the production on 2008 and what you did.
Okay.
A little different than Egret, right?
The process to make this wine is substantially more complex than the stainless steel version that we just got through tasting. And hence, you're going to see a lot more characteristics in the wine as a result. But the 08 is 60% new oak.
Interesting. Okay.
20% 1 year, once used oak, and 20% neutral.
Now, is 60% a little higher than what you see out there? I mean, normally
that's the most we've ever tried to put in on our estate grown Chardonnay. But it was we thought the fruit could support it, and we wanted to see what it tasted like with a little more oak on it. And as in contrast, the 09 has 40% new oak,
okay.
30% once used, and 30% neutral.
Now, before you're putting it in the barrel, how are you determining the percentage of the program that you want to do as far as wood?
Well, you have to plan it ahead of time, almost a year ahead of time. We're now talking about next year's oak right now to our various canneries that supply us with the cooperage that supply us with the barrel. So we do plan that ahead of time, and this was a strategy that we determined we wanted to do in 08. So we'll see what you think of the wine in comparison.
Well, let's take a look. In the nose, I mean, the oak is obvious in the 08. There's no question about it. It's softened up.
It's kind of got an acacia blossom nose to it with kind of a hint of tropical fruit.
A little more softness in the nose that I'm noticing in the 09. Part of that's probably the oak program.
I think it's a little cooler too. I brought it in straight from the cellar, and it could stand to warm up a little bit.
So
bring the aromatics out.
The one thing that we notice in the Chardonnay, even though you're doing a secondary fermentation, which does make what some people think a buttery wine, but it's really not. It's really more creamy. It's not that popcorn butter. It's not that over oaked, big butterball. It's not that at all. It's very, very pleasant and a very soft finish. And elegant, more elegant, and that's what I noticed. But I noticed that it's not that, and those Chardonnays there's still a lot of people that like that, but not too many. They really are leaning towards something in between. They don't want the stainless steel necessarily. They want a little bit of oak and they want a little bit of butteriness, but they don't want the popcorn butter. And this kind of fits in there really nice.
Well, the malolactic fermentation is going to add more texture and mouthfeel, and we're not striving for that buttery consistency, and that comes from fruit that doesn't have enough fruit character to it, and you're really just kind of getting the raw element of the malolactic fermentation, and it has a buttery consistency and flavor to it. Anyway, we don't have that in our wine.
No.
This was gold medal winner and selected by Wine and Spirits magazine as one of America's best Chardonnays last year.
Gotta love that.
Sommeliers like Evan Goldstein rave about the wine, and we've had a lot of success with it. And we're going to continue. We have a couple of hundred cases left of this, as opposed to the Egret, which we're almost sold out of. We still will be introducing the 09 in March, and we will have them side by side. The 09 will be $28 since we had a bigger production,
Okay.
and the 08 is going to stay at 32.
Okay.
So for our members and those that get wine from Cellars of Sonoma, this is going to be introduced at a lower price point, and
it's going to fly out the door. You're going to love that.
Should be easier to acquire.
Yeah, going to love that. So we're going to do a little question, and we're going to have our little break segment. I'm going to introduce this question. Which of the following California areas is known for its world-class Cabernet Sauvignon? Russian River Valley, Rutherford, Carneros, or San Joaquin Valley? Now, some wineries might argue about the San Joaquin. I won't name any names, but so the question is, what of the following California areas is known for world-class Cabernet Sauvignon? This might be an easy question, but I'll give you the answer on the other side of the break.